You get stale.
Popcorn?
Popcorn.
Popcorn.
You forget about things like stale.
Popcorn.
Popcorn, stale popcorn.
Popcorn.
Pop.
This is the
Stale popcorn.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Stale Popcorn Podcast. I'm your host, Steven, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Chris Army Knife. How you doing, my friend?
That's pretty good.
Thank you. Thought I'd switch it up, a snag and a pag here.
Yeah, Steve Harvey, how are you?
Good. That's a good Steve to be compared to.
How was your New Year's, Steve?
Good one. I like it.
All right, let's move on, because I can't think of any more.
All right, let's do it.
It's kind of a pet Steve of mine.
Ooh-wee. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Let's jump in. You got some movie news for me, Chris?
You know the Penguin?
Yes.
It premiered, had 5.3 million views in its first 4 days. HBO's biggest new series launch since The Last of Us.
Ah, cool. Nice. Very good. I like it. I like it a lot.
Now,
They got a
let me
weird
ask you
release
this.
schedule, though, that I'm not a fan of.
What, the
Penguin.
Sundays?
Yeah, because it started on Thursday, now it's on Sundays. Just
yeah, it's kind of
sidebar.
weird.
Anyway, what were you saying?
What shows came from Last of Us to now? That's a new show on HBO. Is this just the next show? Is that they're just trying to trick us here?
I think they are, yeah.
Because I can't think of a...
House of the Dragon, maybe? I don't know.
Well, that's not a new show. That was season 2, Steve. Come on.
I don't know. I can't tell you because I don't know. I'm sorry.
Disney Plus. We're fans of the program.
Huge fans, yep.
Big fans.
Mm-hmm.
And just in case you didn't think you could love them anymore, they've introduced anti-password sharing in the U.S. There is now a paid sharing policy where users now have to pay to add members outside of the household.
Parentheses sigh emoji. Am I right, buddy? I mean, come on now. Just cracking down on the little man, just trying to share passwords. I don't like it.
Not helping themselves.
They really are not, yeah.
You know, Dame Maggie Smith?
Yes, Professor McGonagall.
She's died at the age of 89.
Sorry.
Why are you laughing, Steve?
Should retake that one?
Why are you laughing, Steve?
Just the way you said it. She's died.
She was great. I don't actually know anything else she was in besides Harry Potter. You know anything else? Should we do a little memorial
Downton Abbey.
here?
Downton Abbey. I quite liked her in that. She's a no nonsense. I'm too old to care.
No, she down?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I never seen the show or movie or what is that?
It's
podcast. What is that? What are we talking here?
It's a show that turned into, I think, 1 or 2 movies. I quite remember liking it, and her character was just a ball of fun because she's like this old, very posh woman who's really too old to care about decency, so she has no filter, and it's a lot of fun. So she was a lot of fun in that role. But yeah, R.I.P. Maggie Smith.
She was great in Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, famously, she battled through her cancer and still gave a top performance.
Mm-hmm.
R.I.P. Mag. Now, Adam Driver tells us that he was going to take a break from acting until Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis came along. Francis himself, he's one of those directors that almost every actor I know, when you get that opportunity, it's going to be interesting. Which, I mean, he didn't really lie, did he, Steve?
No, he did not. No, 100% truth right there. But
that was true.
Yeah. FFC, he's a big deal, so you got to jump on that train. You're like, yeah, he's legendary. You know, who wouldn't want to be in the FFC movie? Spoiler alert, he shouldn't have been in it. We'll talk about that later.
Wow. I disagree, but go ahead here. Well,
I got some announcements. I'll just blast
get
from
in
here.
there, buddy.
We got some trailers. Did you see the Thunderbolts trailer, Christopher?
Do I need to? Do I have to?
It's really not here nor there. Like, you really don't need to see it. The only thing I really wanted to talk about, listen, I don't know if you know this about me. I am a font nut. You know, we have Disney nuts. We have horror nuts. I'm a font nut.
You're a papyrus guy, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. Do you know where I'm going with this?
Do they got weird fonts here or what?
In the Thunderbolts trailer and poster, they have billions of dollars at their disposal for any kind of creative design. And they chose, I had a moment of like Ryan Gosling, they chose to just do the most lazy, like, click and drag here, just choose a font for their Thunderbolts logo.
Are we talking Times New?
It's Monstrat. And it is just the laziest, like, I could not believe, like, it was like the SNL skit of Ryan Gosling. I was like, how dare, like, what do you...
Yeah, they should have had you do that. Yeah, I'm a wingding. Give me throw in some Egyptian hieroglyphics, whatever it takes.
No, I think the movie's fine enough or whatever, it's there, but the thing that was most egregious is just that they had the cooler design for the announcement trailer was like, oh, that's a cool little logo. But then they went with this, and I'm like, this looks like nothing. It's just uninspired. I'm sorry, I won't talk about it more, but...
Well, speaking of fonts and trailers, you see this new Wolf Man or whatever trailer?
Yeah, I saw that in the theater when I saw the movie we're talking about, Megalopolis, but I had a question because I could have sworn there was another Wolfman movie with Kit Harington recently. Or am I losing it a little bit?
I think I know what you speak, Beast or Wolf Among Us, Wolf on Wall Street, one of those things, but you can't be contained with the wolves, man. But that one, it's got this I think it's going to be my new Speak No Evil trailer because it's showing up on every movie now and it doesn't come out till I think January or something.
You know, Chris, looking back on that episode, I feel like that was user error on your part for being susceptible to all those times you saw the trailer. That was your fault. You chose to see all those trailers. So I'm calling you out on that was your own fault for seeing that trailer so many times.
I mean, I will say my fault, but I remember literally the first time, maybe second time seeing the trailer, I'm like, this is the whole plot here. I kind of figured as much, but I was still hoping, They throw in a little twist and turn. But this Wolfman, they do that annoying scratch. Scratch. I guess I'm kind of a font nut because that bugs me. Just like I was complaining about Megalopolis where they do like the every other letter. And
yeah. Chris.
Yes.
Do you like season 2 of things where the second season is a continuation of the first season?
I prefer when it's not.
I'm talking Last of Us season 2.
Ooh.
Did you see the trailer, Christopher?
I didn't. Should I see it?
You don't have to. You could lie and say you did, yeah.
I played the game, so I kind of know what to expect. I'm sure what's-her-name is going to get a bunch of death threats. Whoever plays that real manly woman, what's her name? You know who I speak?
Abby, yes.
Abby, I'm sure she's going to get the old death threat, so I'm just going to apologize to her in advance and let the fans know she's just playing a character. Don't get too mad.
Yeah. Actually, you say you've played the game, you know everything, but there was Neil Druckmann. He said that The Last of Us Season 2 will expand on certain things like in Season 1. So they'll change just a couple of things. Maybe not the main story beats, but just a couple of additives here and there. Sprinkle in some more lore, which is always a good world-building technique I like. But the trailer looks good. I think it's... I like the first season. Look forward to the second one, Christopher.
Me too. I quite enjoyed the first. Didn't love the second game as much, but it's still captivating. It's still good. I'm still excited here. So,
Chris.
Yes.
There was a trailer that came out from the world of John Wick.
Ooh.
Chris, are you back?
Yeah. I'm thinking I'm back.
There it is. Yes, Chris, we're back. The world of John Wick. We're back, baby, with Ballerina.
Oh, yeah, I will say I wasn't as excited with the whole universe. I never seen the Continental show. Without Keanu, it just don't hit. He's what really makes John Wick movies for some reason, believe it or not. They show him just a tit in the trailer.
Just a slip,
Just a little slip here, a little nurture. Not a full bottle's worth, but hey, that gets me. I'll stand up, scream.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he's just going to be, I'm guessing he'll be in it for like 2 minutes. But it's going to get folks like me getting in the theater, screaming, hollering, hooting in that order.
Well, what I like about this one, it takes place during the events of John Wick Chapter 3. I don't know if it's going to be before or after, but that's kind of the premise of it. But featuring Ana de Armas, fantastic and James Bond, bloody, Knives Out, Blade Runner 2049. Big fan of her work. Great actress, Yes. Keep her professional here. But
Yes.
The thing I like about this is I hope that they don't just make a Joan Wick, you know what I mean, where it's just like this ultra crazy woman. But I like the potential direction they're going in, where that has to use her smarts, use her intelligence.
Oh, yeah.
And
she's got to fight dirty.
Yeah, I like that. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, because 9 times out of 10, women probably couldn't take on a 6-foot whatever man.
Hey, Steve, what are you saying here?
I'm sorry. Men and women, they're created equal. Sorry, they can do whatever they want. Yeah.
All right. Stay in line here, Steve.
Yeah, don't cancel me. I'm sorry.
Yes. No, I see what you're saying here. And yeah, she got to use them smarts. She got to do the whole fighting and punch them in the groin, bite their jugular, rip off their ear, pinch their toenails. Just the standard stuff.
Mm-hmm. It looks to be a revenge plot story, much like John Wick 1. So I read a funny comment. Someone said, I guess they killed her cat.
Oh.
That'd be a good call to action.
Or they stole her little ballerina figurine.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a sucker for revenge. I love revenge.
Yes. Also, Lance Riddick. I don't know, the black guy in the Continental.
R.I.P.
This was... Yes.
Don't Rainbow read me.
Yeah. Where's my iconic slave role? Yeah, it's good to see him back. Yeah, I think
he's back. They filmed him in it.
I think he filmed some before he left. Because did you not see him in the trailer?
What do you mean when he left?
Before his untimely passing.
I was like, you're acting like he chose to. He's like, he pulled the Joaquin here,
Yeah,
but. No, I mean, I hope he'll see it. I'll probably shed a tear with him. I hope they do him better than they did Leia and do some weird thing. Or I hope they don't pull an Ian Holm alien.
Yeesh. Yeah. Anyway, that's all the news I got, Chris. What you got for me? Glen's Corner, where I'm sitting in the corner looking at nothing but a picture of Glen.
Glen Powell previously told us how he looks back on his roles in Spy Kids 3D and The Dark Knight Rises with fondness. Quote, I'm really proud to be part of Spy Kids 3D and, with The Dark Knight Rises, getting my head smashed by Bane. If nothing ever happened in my career, at least I got my butt kicked by Bane. Which is more than the rest of us can say.
Certainly, yes. I love finding out new things about our friend Glen. When I first saw that he was the kid in Spy Kids, I saw that movie in the theaters. I don't know about you.
I couldn't afford it.
My friend took me out to it with his dad, and we saw it, put on the glasses, and at the time I was not aware that one of my favorite stars would be featuring in this. It's good to go. I might go back just for him to see that movie, buy the glasses and everything.
Yeah.
So.
Big fan, big man, big plan. That's all the announcements I got, Steve.
Well, if that's all you got, Chris, I got a question for you. And that question is, what you been watching, Christopher?
I seen one movie in the theaters.
Really? Only one?
I guess technically I did see 4 or 5, but I had I guess I did forget. I saw one in the theater. The old folks came in, so I watched a bunch of their type of movies. So we're basically just binging Dennis Quaid all day,
Sure.
They're big fans of the Quaid. So
yeah, we
rewatched Twisters because they hadn't seen it. Glenn, still great. Still that smile. He's so charming.
Yeah.
And then we watched a flick about an astronaut. It had that one Ant-Man funny dude, the Mexican Pena.
Michael Pena. Yeah.
That one was fine. It's probably like a 0. It's kind of boring, a little long, but it's about him being an astronaut or something. And then I watched some Dennis Quaid flight
simulator.
Something like that. He's flying a plane, the pilot dies, and he's got to land
Flight of the Phoenix?
No, but that is a good one.
Oh.
But he's been in multiple flight movies. I think it's like Living on a Prayer, Flying on a Prayer, something flying prayer. I'll give it a 0. They're both not my cup of tea, but I do love Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
But then I go to the theater a couple days back. Transformers 1.
Yeah, okay.
I wasn't super excited for it. It was in the RPX, and it was going to have one more day until that robot movie takes over. So, all right, I'll catch it on the last day at RPX. And it was fine. It goes back to the Transformers lore. Which I never really watched Transformers as a kid. Mm-hmm. Were you a Transformers kiddo?
No, it was a little bit before my time. I was a Dragon Ball Z kid. Huh? No, I was a trans kid. Were you what right. Kid were you? Were you a Ninja Turtles kid, or what were you?
I was a X-Men. Give me Spider-Man. Give me some Static Shock. Give me some Bad Day, Jackie Chan Adventures.
Oh, sure, yeah.
One more thing. Give me some Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon. I'm that WB.
Pot of Greed. Mm-hmm. That's probably one of my favorite memes. Sorry.
You never saw this coming. I summoned Pot of Greed to draw 3 additional cards from my deck.
The Pot of Greed.
I imagine, though, because I'm sitting through the trailers and they're showing the new trailer for the new Sonic 3 and what, because it's not a adult movie, the Transformers. It's animated, you know? Mm-hmm. But I just imagine a kind of little nostalgia, imagining myself as like a 9-year-old watching a trailer for like Sonic 3 and how excited I would be, or even that Transformers one. Mm-hmm. I thought the movie was fine. I'd probably stand up, give it a 2-minute clap here.
Is it better than Shia LaBeouf's Transformers?
Not in my opinion, but review-wise, it's the highest reviewed. Yeah, I prefer the live action. That's all I've been watching, Steve. How about yourself?
I watched a television series on the Naflay entitled The Perfect Couple, starring Lee Shriver and Nicole Kidman. It's a murder mystery kind of gag.
You say gag?
Gig, yeah.
You got me peaked, interested. Are you standing? You clapping? You booing? What are we talking
I'll
here?
stand for like 3 minutes. Yeah.
Ooh.
It was entertaining.
How many episodes? How much time you got to devote?
I think there's like 6 episodes. It's a mini-series, so it's a standalone. So you know, like, this is the end. Like, there's nothing else coming, you know?
Yes.
But I quite enjoyed it. I started it because I thought it was a movie, and so I was like, this is kind of a slow movie. I was like, when is this going to pick up? Then the credits rolled, and I was like, oh, okay. But,
yeah.
No, so I'll tell you, it's not a movie. But I liked it. I like me a murder mystery. It's got Dakota Fanning in there as well. A couple other big-name actors and stuff.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah. My wife and I watched, and we liked it well enough. It's better than another thing that we have been talking about recently, and I've watched the newest episode of The Rings of Power, Christopher.
Ooh.
Now, Chris.
Yes.
We've been pooping on this show, and rightfully so. But
sure.
I gotta give it to him. This last episode, the better of the turds that I have experienced here.
Yes.
It wasn't that bad.
We're talking only 1 to 2 wipes on this
Yeah,
one.
but it was really long. I'll give it. It's like a full hour 40 some odd, I think. It's like a full-length movie.
It was like 1:12 exactly. Oh. Not that I was counting my watch the whole time, but...
But all this to say...
It was long.
Yeah, it was long, but I did like that it was more action-heavy and like more focused on the storyline that I liked, which was the Elrond and fighting and the Celebrimbor and stuff. Yeah, I think it was probably the best episode of this season, if not the series. Again, which isn't saying too much because I do have much more negatives than positives. Mostly logistics and common sense things that I wrote down, but goods. I liked seeing Celebrimbor and Sauron doing all their jazz. I thought him in the little mine prison was fun to watch, but where it pains me was the battle sequences, because I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. But Christopher, I'm no battle strategist, right? I've only played World of Warcraft for many hours or days even. And so I can move the pieces on the chessboard, but a lot of their strategy just didn't make a lot of sense to me, if you know what I mean. If you're watching the show and you understand and you see, do you know what I'm going with here?
Are you talking both sides here? The orcs?
Mainly the elves, because there's a part where Elrond is kind of the commander, and he's like charging. He's going all gung-ho. They're trying to recreate the ride of the Rohirrim, you know that kind of feeling. And he's like going, about to plow through this line of orcs, and then they uncover this robe, and Galadriel's there. And so Elrond's like, wait, stop. And they stop like 2 feet from the orcs. And then Elrond's like, all right, let's talk some terms, right?
Yeah, let's have a chat here.
They chat, and Elrond's like, I'm not going to give up. We're not going to give up, and we're going to fight yous. And he goes out there, and then he starts running amok in the middle of thousands of orcs. And again, in my extensive knowledge of playing World of Warcraft, no matter how strong your hero character is, Christopher, sheer numbers would dictate that you would lose that hero character. Am I right?
You haven't been a level 106 with the charisma times 40,
I guess not.
He rolled the times 20 or whatever dice.
It just kind of bugged me because he's like alone. Maybe he has like one other elf friend, but he's like in the middle of like hundreds of orcs, and nobody else like is jumping on him. Do you know what I mean? Am I out of bounds with this? Did you notice that at all?
You're in bounds. I thought similar things. Going back to Galadriel, they unveil look who's here. And she's in a cage. She can move around in the cage. Mm-hmm. It's not like she can't move. And I'm like, just move away so the knife isn't pointing at your neck here, and then if they fight, you'll probably naturally get out of there. Yeah. But instead, she's just being dumb. And then he's like, all right, let me say goodbye to her, and let me just pull off this pin right in front of everyone. That's super obvious. Mm-hmm. And then hand it to her, and somehow no one was suspicious. But yeah, they were just fighting, and yeah, I agree, it didn't really make a ton of sense. They start off the battle, they're just shooting the cannons across the river, just murdering elves left, right, up, down. Mm-hmm. Northwest, northeast. We're talking elves dead.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, stop. And then they're like, you know what? Let's dam the river. All right, sure. Mm-hmm. And then, then they can get across and all that. And there's this part where the elves are like, we got to stop this machine that's coming or whatever, because they got something to break the wall. And they focus like 5 seconds on shooting the orcs that are pushing it. And then they just like, whatever. And then the thing gets all the way to the wall, and they get it pushed to the wall. They make it seem like, once we get this thing to the wall, it'll break it down. And even Celebrimbor is like, this is the weakest wall. We got to stop it. And it's like, it goes from day to night, and just like somehow this wall nothing's really happened to it. It's been hours. Mm-hmm. And they're like, it's stronger than we thought. And yeah, I will say starts off real good, gets into action. There's a lull in the middle, and then it ends with some action. And I agree, best episode of the season for sure. I was kind of dozing off in the middle here, so maybe you can answer this question for me, Steve. So Celebrimbor, mind control, blah, 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 and he finally gets out. He sees the war, and the elves are they're getting kicked. Mm-hmm. They're getting mugged. And Sauron, who has been deceiving them, he's like, hey, buddy, you finish those rings, and I'll let them live. Mm-hmm. And he says that, and then the other elves show up, but then I guess he agrees to it. Because I'll be honest, I was kind of dozing off at this point.
Let me think. I think...
Let me test if you paid attention here.
Probably not. Oh, he's like, I can end all of this if you finish those rings. And so that's... Celebrimbor goes and finishes the rings.
But then Sauron's gone. So that's why I was like, I guess he's doing it. Even though these other elves showed up. But then I kind of wasn't really paying attention. Next thing I know, he's sawing off his thumb.
Oh, yeah.
And escaping. And I'm like... But... you just change your mind here? Or did I miss something? I didn't, heaven forbid I'm not rewinding this to figure it out. I was hoping you could just tell me here.
I think I was maybe just more distracted by the fact that Celebrimbor, that was his second option was, let me try to get out of this chain for half a second. Nope, let me chop off my thumb. That seemed like the brightest idea to him. He had never heard of Harry Houdini, I guess, to break his thumb, and I don't know.
Get some baby oil, throw it on there, slither it out, something.
Yeah.
Pull a Denethor, nothing, huh?
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this, Steve. I am in a group chat with the boys, and some other people mentioned this, and I couldn't help but notice it as well. But what do you think about that credit sound or whatever? That nice little song at the end.
As a stylistic choice that I was not only not seeing coming at all, but I was like, what the... Because I didn't know if my wife had started playing some music or something somewhere else. I was like, what the freak is this music? The most aggressively non-Lord of the Rings music I've ever heard, but I don't know. I thought it was funny.
It was entertaining, to say the least. But yeah, that's all I got on Lord of the Rings here.
That's all I got too. Well, should we just dive into the main course of this episode, Christopher?
Oh, yeah.
From our friend Francis Ford Coppola, FFC. We're going to go over some basic plot details and some non-spoilers, maybe give it a rating, and then dive into some spoilers. So, Christopher, I'm looking forward to having you give a non-spoiler plot synopsis of this movie, this film, if you will.
Non-spoiler. Well, you got Adam Driver. His name is Cesar. And he's a real genius, an Elon Musk, if you will. They're in basically New York, but it's like New
Rome. It's kind of like the movie Bright, where it's like, hey, what if medieval times but modern day? Where it's like, hey, what if Rome times but modern day? That's the best way I could describe it, maybe.
Yeah. Caesar, he's invented this, what's that stuff in Black Panther, the Wakanda metal stuff?
Oh, vibranium.
Yeah, basically he's made his own little vibranium, but it's gold.
Megalodon or whatever it's called.
It's like bloody flubber out there. It can do whatever you want. Yeah. You can build buildings with it. You can make invisible dresses. You can save your face after it gets blown up. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Basically got that, and he's trying to build this utopia called Megalopolis. And there's twists and turns, and there's a lot of great actors and different characters, and will they, won't they, romance. We got it all. Is that a safe spoiler-free?
Sure, yeah. Spoiler-free, because there's not much really to talk. And if you've seen the trailer, you're probably like, you have to see it to believe it, to really understand it. So, short answer, Christopher, did you like it?
I did, actually. Maybe it's because my expectations were low. I wasn't expecting much, but I thought it was actually really good. It might be in my top 3 movies
of the year.
I thought I can't get through.
Is this a bit okay? I
was really trying. I had a whole thing planned about, but I couldn't keep my face straight.
Chris, you had me.
This movie was.
You had me. I was looking forward to it.
It was freaking terrible. Oh my! Well, I don't know what. I thought it was. It was terrible. I really tried. There is some good. I do have some pros.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, but it might be. It's definitely one of the worst movies I've seen this year. I don't know. What do you think, Steve?
Oh, man, I was really looking forward to having a heated debate with you because
an easy win for you is what you're
I totally agree. Chris, I like to think sitting down on Instagram with brain rot would be more productive than sitting down watching this movie. It was, oh my goodness, definitely one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Let's just dive into spoilers, can we? Let's ruin this.
Yeah, I was thinking something that could be a little, maybe it'll help us both here is maybe we go through the plot together and maybe we can understand
together.
I'll be honest. So this is a big movie for me. I get in there. I saved enough points that I could get a free popcorn. So I get that popcorn. I'm going to enjoy luxury here. And I'm eating the popcorn. I haven't had movie theater popcorn since 83 here. And I don't know if your theater's like this, but this popcorn, it seemed like it had been marinating in the Atlantic Sea for days. It was like salt of the earth, man. I was dying of thirst, but
yeah. You usually come at me with a theater experience tale, right?
Oh, you got one.
I got one. I was the only one in my theater, which has never in my life happened. I was told there would be an audience kind of participation aspect of this movie. Did that at all happen with you or?
Nope.
Okay.
I was waiting.
Me too.
Did you get anything?
I got nothing. And but what also happened towards the end of this movie, this has only happened to me once in my life, it cut out. The movie stopped prematurely. I gotta tell you, this was the closest I've ever come to walking out of a movie.
How early are we talking here in this?
It was kind of after Shia LaBeouf got strung up, and I was
just turned black here?
Yeah, just kind of, well, I was ready to go at that point.
Yes.
I was literally standing up because I was like, I don't know if I can. And then it cut out. I think the Allfather told me personally, this was a personal sign. No one else in the theater just said, just go, man. Just get out of here.
Yeah.
There's nothing else for you. Please just let me help you nudge you out of there. Yeah. So I don't know what else happened in the movie after that.
Oh, so you did get to leave early.
Well, it was done. I couldn't find an attendant. No one was there. So I was like, I took that as a sign to just be like, just go home. Just leave. So, well, let me ask you at the end. Well, maybe we'll get to it at the end and talk about it. But I can't recommend this to anyone, really. And those who like this movie, movie, I don't want to be your friend, if I'm being honest. This movie was completely lost on me, 100%.
Well, it starts off, you got Adam Driver on top of a building, skyscraper, and he's about to walk off. And I remember I was tense. I'm like, oh, I feel, is he about to, jump off this bit? I don't know why. In theory, it shouldn't be worrisome at all. But I was like, what's going to happen here? And he's kind of steps forward and he says, stop time or something. What is he stop time, and then it freezes. And then you're like, all right, 5 seconds in, I'm kind of already lost. I'm sure they'll explain this in this 2.5
Surely
hour
they'll
movie.
explain it, right? They'll explain it, right? Would they not?
And then it cuts to Masande. Her name is Juliet or something.
She is the daughter of the mayor, and the mayor and Adam Driver, they have kind of a rivalry going because the mayor is trying to build this town and he unveils this new project. And he's like, look, a casino. And people are like, we don't want a casino in New Rome, and they're not having it. And then Adam Driver, the tortured genius that he is, comes along and he's like, behold, I have Megalodon, or what's it called? The vibranium.
Megalopolis. It's Megal.
Yes,
yeah,
tell me what it is.
Megalon?
Yeah, Megalon, I think, maybe.
But the mayor is Esposito.
Giancarlo Esposito, yes. And so they kind of have a rivalry, and people are more leaning towards Adam Driver's side. And I guess his motives are more pure because he's like, I want to create a utopia for the whole world. And he's this inexplicable genius for some reason. I thought it was quite bold of Francis to write the main character as this tortured genius who no one understands.
No one understands.
I'm like, come on, man. Oh, man.
And Julia, she's out clubbing with Shia, whose name is
Clydius?
Clydius, yeah. He's the grandson of John Voight,
yes,
who's the richest man in the world. He's got a little Joaquin Phoenix, Jamie Cersei situation with his family. He's a real incestuous perv. And a real creep, but he's into Julia, and he's like, hey, come hang out. And she's like, nah, I gotta go. And so she gets in a limo because she's got to get home. And they stop by Cesar doing some destruction of this big old building. And he does a time stop, and she sees it. No one else does. Everyone else freezes but her. And you're all right. So something's here. And then you find out that Adam Driver and this reporter, Aubrey Plaza, they're kind of an item.
A secret item.
And she says, hey, I'm in love with you, and I want to be a power couple. I want this to be public. And he's just like, you should never marry for love. And then he kind of ditches her.
Oh, yeah. Adam Driver was married once, and his wife died mysteriously.
Oh, yeah.
That's neither here nor there. Really.
Yeah, here nor there. Yeah. Who needs that?
Oh, there's also title cards in this movie, which I am never a fan of. Chapter 2, we're going to the circus. Gosh, I don't like this. At the circus, there's a whole bunch of stuff, and Shia LaBeouf, being the jealous little punk that he is, he wants to bring down Adam Driver, his cousin, because he likes Masande, but he can't get Masande, and so he fakes this video of a real Pete Diddy situation, if you know what I mean. And, Adam Driver gets thrown into jail. Also, sidebar, you have said on this show that you don't like visions or hallucinations or whatever.
Yes.
And I imagine this is how you feel whenever you see one of those kinds of sequences. Because there's 3 of those hallucinations, trippy vision sequences.
Just Adam Driver spazzing out. And
I could not have been less here for it. I was like, this is the worst. I hate this so much. Because he's at the circus. Everyone's being accused of all this crap. And he's tripping hard on whatever drugs. It's way too long. It's 40 minutes of them at this circus. And it's just terrible.
Well, are you talking the wedding circus thing?
Oh yeah. Where, oh gosh, I don't.
Yeah. So the circus that Steve's talking about is actually Aubrey Plaza. She really wants money. So once Adam Driver kind of says bye-bye, girl, she goes to John Voight, who's the richest man in the world, and they get married. And that's what this whole thing is. Might be my favorite part is, so Shia LaBeouf, he's a real trickster. He's a real weird guy.
This was his audition tape for the Joker or something. I don't know what he was doing here.
I'm convinced. So would you say cross-dress? He's in a dress, dressed as a woman. I guess cross-dress. I'm convinced that him dressed as a woman might be the ugliest person I've ever seen. Like, it is absolutely revolting.
Oh yes, yeah, I 100% agree.
It was something I didn't hate it for the movie. Don't get me wrong. Honestly, I think this is my favorite part because he dresses as a woman. They go to like whoever's in charge of the
show.
What do they call the billboard thing on the stadium?
Telemetron,
Megatron, whatever that thing is called.
Yeah.
Jumbotron. That's it.
That was close.
And he gives him this USB stick, and he's like, "Play this," and they're like, "What?" And he's like, "Do it," and he's like, "All right." So he gives him a little USB stick. He puts it in there, and then they have this, like, maybe you know what it is. So this is the Grace Vander chick or whatever.
The chick who won the America's Got Talent like 10 years ago, randomly in this movie.
She's like the Taylor Swift of the movie. She's playing a song, and they're having like was it an auction for her or what? Like a virgin something.
That's how I interpreted it. People are
like, are they trying to sell her?
I think so. That's what I understood as it were. Yeah,
because it starts the auctions like, all right, 1,000. Anyone for 1,000? Because I think she's supposed to be like 16 or I don't know, some youngster and a virgin. And they start auctioning. It gets up to like 100 million or something. And then that USB thing that Shia put in there, it pops up on the Jumbotron, and it's like a sex tape of her and Adam Driver. And everyone's like shocked and appalled because she's supposed to be a virgin. And also Adam Driver, that's when he gets thrown in prison. Oh, statutory rape, blah, blah, blah. And then my favorite part is it shows Shia getting back in, and he's kind of got a hit list because he's really after the money.
Yeah.
So I think Adam Driver's higher up on the heirs list, and he's trying to get him out so he can get his granddaddy's. Is it his grandpa or his father?
I think it's his grandpa.
His grandpa's money. Yeah. And he says, revenge tastes best while wearing a dress.
Inspired words, Francis.
Which to me, I think is like the funny, like you got to admit, like it's the best commitment and setup just for that one line punchline. Like that's the whole reason he wore a dress is just to, so that he can really get that revenge that tastes best. Julia, because she's into Adam Driver. They're
working together. Yeah.
Her dad doesn't like it, but they're kind of, in cahoots. And she goes and she finds a birth certificate for the Grace Vanderchuck or whatever her name is. And, and it's like, oh, she's actually 23.
Exonerated.
And so now he's not a statutory rapist. But then it turned out it was all deep fake and all that. I will admit, sometime around here, I did doze off. And on this movie, I couldn't tell you if I fell asleep for 5 minutes or 50 minutes because there's no sort of like cohesion within the plot.
Yeah, I think the movie itself got lost a little bit. Aubrey Plaza, she's really determined to take all Jon Voight's money, but she can't because he signed a prenup.
Oh, yeah.
So she works with Shia LaBeouf to sign over Jon Voight's company and make Shia LaBeouf the CEO and acting chairman so that they can revenge in a dress and take all of his money. One of the funniest images that I've ever seen in a movie, and I'm convinced that Jon Voight wronged Francis Ford Coppola somehow in the past. And just like women, directors forgive, but they never forget. And he said, I'm going to make John wear a Robin Hood outfit, lie in bed, and have a mini bow and arrow and sit in a bed and shoot Shia LaBeouf in the butt with his bow and arrow. And I was like, at that point, I had already been checked out in the movie, but I was like, what is happening? Because it's just...
that was one of my pros. I thought
that part was funny. It was real funny, right?
Yeah, I wrote down the quote in case you're wondering.
Go for it.
Basically, he had a setup for his too, because he's acting like he's
like crippled and
kind of dying,
senile,
not all there. Then they're in there just, paying their respect, and he pulls out the crossbow, shoots, or right before he shoots Aubrey, this is closing your bill, and then shoots her in the chest. Kills her immediately, and then he shoots Shia twice, and he runs off.
shoots him in the bum.
I was kind of thinking here, actually. So, like, the whole plot is, like, the kids, like, they're all trying to steal his money.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, maybe this is Francis Ford Coppola kind of making this is a message to his heirs. Because this movie, let me double check. I think the budget was like
120.
Yeah, it's $120 million budget.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, he had to put all the money up. He's been saving for this forever because no studio in the right mind's gonna put money down for this.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even market it, so he had to shell out more money. And to me, I'm like, if this is just him, like, maybe he's got a bunch of heirs, like kids, grandkids that are trying to mooch off that money, waiting for him to die. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to show you a lesson. I'm going to spend it all on this movie that's not going to make a dime. And then I'm going to make the movie about how this grandpa rich guy does not want to give these kids the money, you know? And he ends up shooting them and killing them with an arrow. So, I mean, if you look at it that way, it's kind of a fun story.
Yeah. Plot-wise, there's nothing much else. Shia LaBeouf turns into like a little politician and tries to sway people against... Oh, actually, something kind of important does happen. Adam Driver gets assassinated. I forgot about that.
He gets shot in the face by a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah.
But there was also another part we kind of forgot that's pretty funny is when Julia first shows up to him, he's in his office at his lair or whatever, and he gets a call up from the receptionist. Hey, there's a sixth grader said you came by and got her out of class before because you stopped by, and he's like, oh yeah, I know who that is, and then it's this like clearly like 30-year-old Julia walks up. And I'm like,
I was like, did I miss something?
Receptionist, like, because she's like wearing like a red scarf and like a hood, but I mean, she's still like 5'10", whatever, and like a grown woman. Like, she posed as a sixth grader. And then also, who is this? Like, did Adam Driver? He made it sound like he knew exactly who it was, and obviously it wasn't.
Did you notice what his secretaries were doing when she came in? By the way.
They were in sync doing some like stamping or something.
They were signing autographed pictures of Adam Driver to send out to people.
Oh.
There's like 3 people just doing that.
So yeah, then Adam Driver, he gets shot in the face.
But he's got
I talked about it earlier, but they used the little gold vibranium thing and it heals his face as well.
Somehow.
And yeah, after, I guess what you missed at the end is, I really wish you'd seen it because I had a lot of questions about it, so I probably won't be able to actually tell you why, but it's like, it seemed like Adam and the mayor, they weren't into each other, but he gets Julia pregnant and they're like, hey, kid, and Esposito's like storms out, he's mad, and then he comes back, and it turns out, basically, the whole, like, a part of the setup in the movie is, like, some people think Adam Driver killed his wife.
Mm-hmm. His first wife,
and they never found the body.
Mm-hmm.
And the mayor used to be the DA that was prosecuting him. And he's like, all right, I got evidence here that we actually have the body. You know, I was being a little crooked here. And I think he was trying to be like, all right, I'll let you do your Megalopolis and I'll support you, but you got to leave my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I think is what I was getting out of that.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
And then he gets shot in the face and they're still together. I guess that's like a trump card. And it seemed like they're cool after that. So I guess all it takes if the father-in-law says no is to get shot in the face. I don't know. And then it ends, but I think they're still mad at each other. And the mayor's doing a press conference. And at the same time, Adam Driver's going on some speech about Megalopolis. The mayor's like little assistant's like, hey, stop talking. He's making himself look bad. And then they all go to Megalopolis. So I guess he wasn't really making it sound bad, but I think that's kind of how it ends.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, so how much more? So, like, at the end, you know, when you see Shia LaBeouf get, like, strung up by the people and gets
10
beat
minutes.
up.
I think that's... Did you see the Megalopolis speech by Adam Driver?
I think
Were
I
you there
did.
for that?
There's, like, a big screen of him with the vibranium material. Okay, I saw some of that, yeah.
And did you see Esposito go on the little, like...
Oh, the little escalator thing?
Escalator thing?
Yeah, I think I saw that.
I think you've pretty much seen it, though. I think that's pretty much how it ends.
Oh, okay.
They're there. I guess that ends with Esposito putting their baby on a little towel thing. And it's just like, oh, the world, and then some Lawrence Fishburne BS, which also he's like the limo driver, but he's also the narrator.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, and throughout it, just imagine like what we're saying doesn't make sense cohesively. And if you watch the movie, it's literally like, this is how it is. Like, there's nothing smooth transitions about it. There's a bunch of weird things. There's like this creepy Aubrey Plaza, like hand shadow puppet thing going on. There's
I have in my notes, I said, I know things are happening, but I don't know what the things that are happening are doing. Like, again, this movie was completely lost on me. And this movie was made for like those rich creep weirdo like perverts in Hollywood, for those rich creep weirdo perverts in Hollywood, and us just being regular old non-perverts, it's not for us.
Yes.
And we'll probably get some flack for this. Like, I feel like this movie was just made for the real like cinephile film bros to put their nose up at people. But you guys just don't understand the pure genius of Francis retelling. It's his version of the utopia society building. And I'm like, I don't care. If movie sucked, that's all I like. You're an idiot. I just don't care, you know?
You think about like one of those Picasso paintings or whatever, where it's just, I mean, to me, it just looks like a bunch of gobbledygook. Yeah. Like, depending on just thrown on a canvas, and there are people like, I'll pay $1 million for that. Do you not get it? It just speaks to me. And
yeah, that's a good metaphor.
This whole movie is, it's basically that. I just want to know the one person that it just resonates. That's just like Frank sitting there like, I get it, from It's Always Sunny.
Yeah, definitely.
It seems like a play. A lot of it's very play, and I'm sure there's a bunch of Hamlet and Shakespeare, but I mean, I'm not into those per se.
Yeah.
But if you're going to college, I'm good luck, because I'm sure your humanities professor is going to make you watch this every semester and strap in for the next 40 years of your life. It's going to be the next Casablanca and whatever. But
I don't like to use the word hate. You know, I don't like to throw that term around, but I hate myself for making myself watch this movie voluntarily, let's just say. What else do I have here? Oh, so I was under the impression that this was going to be like a modern retelling of kind of like the fall of Rome, you know, and how empires crumble and fall by the hubris and by the taking of power and, you know, all that stuff. And I was interested to see kind of like a modern retelling, like allegorical version of how empires fall. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, because, you know, ancient Rome's fallen and stuff, and we can learn from history. However, this movie, it got bogged down with so much like what I deem as pretentious just nonsense, in my opinion. It's just really aggressively, again, not for me. And I think if it would have stayed focused and like kind of told from like a modern retelling of empires falling, that would have been more successful, or would have been more applicable for me, because he made the movie for me, you know, that's what I'm saying. But
yes.
It just, I don't think it hit on anything. Like, the romance wasn't very compelling. The acting, I guess, was just kind of there. People said things and did things. They showed up on the day, and the story was a bunch of commie gobbledygook.
Yes, it was.
I don't know, man. I did not enjoy a single minute of this, if I'm being honest.
I thought Shia was good. In this movie, it's so bizarre, so weird that like some actors you could tell like bought into it regardless. So like Shia, he was going for it. Adam, he was going for it. Julia, she's just like a normal person, which to me in this movie, I'm like, you just commit to it. You know, you got to go, because like, it doesn't make sense to be normal in this. Like, Aubrey Plaza was pretty good too. Like, she's super weird. Like, to me, like, at least they're going for it. But like, even our boy Esposito, he's a normal person in a non-normal movie here. You got to go commit here. I got the Rotten Tomatoes if you want it.
Oh, can I guess?
You want to guess?
Critics score? I bet the critics, there's little nerds who will eat this up. They probably like a 80%, and the audience
49%.
Ooh, okay. And the audience probably like 15.
50.
What?
They're pretty even split here. 45-50, which that's too high for me, but It's a pretty expensive movie, 120 mil. I don't know if it was supposed to be. I'm sure he's like, oh yeah, that was part of the movie, but like some like atrocious green screen, and like you'd think it was a low budget movie.
Yeah.
Like in particular, there's the part where they're going up that elevator. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The elevator.
It would look like I could have done. No, it was him and Julia. I think it's one of the first time he takes her up.
Oh, okay,
top.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I feel like I could have done that kind of background, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Some of those things. I felt uncomfortable that Julia kept calling Esposito daddy. Like, it wasn't just like once or twice. It was probably 15 to 20 times. She was like, daddy, daddy. And I'm like, stop.
Is that a red flag for you?
There's no need for this. Yeah. Yes. I'd say 30% of my theater walked out before the movie ended. And there was probably only, 15 of us, but I saw two different groups. They're like, all right, enough. Like, I'd hear the people, like, something would happen. They'd be like, this is so weird. Just all this. And
we were told, like, audience members, there's audience participation. Like, theater goers have to stop and see the movie. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking.
What part of the movie was that supposed to be? Do you know?
That's what I was wondering, too, because it was supposed to be talking to Adam Driver.
There was a part in the movie where my screen shrunk down to like a 120-inch screen. Did that happen to you?
I don't think so. I think you got the...
Okay, yeah, so
yeah.
He was like, had a press conference, and imagine like the screen just shrunk down towards like the bottom right. And to like,
I don't remember.
Maybe like 120 inches.
That could have been when I fell asleep.
Probably.
I definitely dozed off.
Let us know if that was what that was supposed to be.
Yeah, I was thinking, I'm like, what questions would I even ask? Because remember how they're like, he was trying to develop like a AI, let the audience ask questions and give response. So I'm like, what is this movie, Adam? Why did you do this? Do you hate yourself? Are you depressed? What's going on here? You know, what would you ask Adam in this movie?
Ask Adam Driver in the movie or ask Cesar?
Cesar.
I'd be like, can you ask Francis if he's okay behind the camera? Because like, what is this? Do you think the marketing tactic was a lot of people misunderstood Francis and his genius back in the day when movies first came out? And that seems to be what's happening again. A lot of negative reviews, including ours. Do you think 10, 15, 20 years from now, we'll look back and be like, Francis was on to something. He was really ahead of his time.
We got to be careful. Yeah, this will be like our getting canceled. You know how people, they'll go back, pull tweets from 15 years ago of just saying like outrageous
Well, these guys hated Megalopolis. They lose all credibility.
Blah, blah.
Yeah.
And they're going to pull this back up and be like, you guys call yourself movie podcasters and you don't like the greatest movie of all time? Yeah. Smooth brains can't understand a plot.
I would be genuinely curious if someone can explain this to me in the comments. Because I don't know, man. It was a waste of time. Yeah. Put me in a bad mood, if I'm being honest. On the way home, 10 and 2 driving, I was just kind of eyebrows pointed down, trying to think about what I went through. So if you're still listening up to this point and you were thinking about going and seeing it, hopefully we deterred you not to. Save 2 hours of your time.
I remember looking at my phone and I'm like, all right, we have to be somewhere close. And I looked and it was, I think I'd only been in the movie for like 30 minutes. And I was like, I still have an hour and 50 of this.
Yeah.
There was no one behind me and no one in my row. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to be on my phone here because it's not going to distract. If there's people by me, of course I wouldn't. But I'm like, literally, I need something to kind of keep me awake. And naturally, I had no reception in there. So I was like, I can't even do anything here. And yeah, it's just like a constant countdown where I'm like, all right, let's try.
I would rather boil down the film Borderlands into a liquid substance and inject that into my veins than watch this movie again. I would rather bloody sit on a loop, bloody Clockwork Orange style, and be forced to watch Madam Web and Borderlands for 24 hours straight than watch this again. You could not pay me. It would probably get you $1,000 to make me watch this again. That's how much I did not like this movie. And I'm not being dramatic. That's just factual, Christopher.
Worst movie of the year for you?
Easily.
Yeah, as I'm watching, I was thinking, I'm like, is this the worst? Because Borderlands was what, like an hour 50? It wasn't as long as this one for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm like, time-wise, that would be less to endure. But I think I like this movie better than that.
Fair enough.
Because to me, I do have some pros, if you'll let me.
Yeah, go for it, because I don't think I have any.
You don't have a suit?
I think I may have one, but
there's some like funny parts that I'm not sure if they're meant to be funny. Mm-hmm. But like I said, that Shia, that was great. I thought that was really good. There's just like some random moments. There's a part where someone shows up to the mayor's, Esposito's, and he's like, I don't want to talk to him in the ballroom. And then it just like cuts to his wife, like dancing with some dude. He's like, slow, quick, slow, like just a dance.
Yeah.
Adam Driver spazzing out or just like doing some weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's flying around this like drone thing and he has this like a bottle or something. He just tries to break it and there's a bunch of random stuff where I'm like giggling a little. Like I could see if I was watching this with someone else, we could make fun of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It has the potential to be a good,
fun
bad,
group watch.
Fun, bad. But I would never recommend watching by yourself.
You mean like how I did?
Like how I did as well.
Yeah.
And cast-wise, it's got a stellar cast. Star-studded, you can't deny.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We got the ones we mentioned. Also, you got
Dustin Hoffman's in there.
Hoffman, girl from Harry Potter, the little neighbor lady, I think.
Oh, don't put your wand away, Harry.
She's got a cool voice. Don't know her name, though. Yeah.
I guess those are kind of it. Shooting them with the arrow, that was another fun part.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have many pros. I think I'd still put it slightly above Borderlands. And to me, it's more respectable for Coppola. He swung. All right. He missed. He struck out or whatever, but he swung. Yeah. He didn't strike out looking here, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I feel confident that the studio had no effect on this. Like they had no imprint.
Yeah.
Like, you know, some movies you're like, you know, like Zack Snyder is like, oh, the studio made me cut this and this. I only do my Snyder cut and it's all totally different, you know?
Yeah.
But this one, you're just like,
that was all you, baby.
Clearly no studio touched this. And this is 100% him. This is his birth, whatever. He really impregnated this. He did whatever. And yeah, I guess that's basically what I got. You got anything else here, Steve?
I think that's it from me. But if you're listening this far, thanks for watching and listening. Comment about how stupid I am because I didn't understand the movie. And if you understood the movie, please let me know because I'd be more than curious to understand it. But yeah, make sure you follow us and like us on Twitters and Instagrams and YouTubes and all that jazz. And we only got a couple more days. And if we hit 700, we're going to do the Rebel Moon. So make sure you subscribe and all that jazz.
Oh, yeah. What are we at right now, Steve?
695, I think.
695. So we got 5. And we got, what, like 1 day after this releases?
Yeah.
All right, so you got 1 day here. We'll see what we're doing here. But yeah, if you did like this, I'm really curious as to why, but I'm just imagining any person that says they like this as like the Minkus, you know, Boy Meets World character, like, well, actually, you know, it's one of those like they're not only lying to me, but they're lying to themselves, you know?
Yeah. That's all I got, Chris.
That's all I got. Thanks for listening. Have a good week.
Bye.
Popcorn. You forget about things like stale.
Popcorn, stale popcorn.
Popcorn. Pop.
This is the
Stale popcorn.
Popcorn.
Glen's Corner. When you're sitting in the corner jerking off to Glen.
Maybe we'll put that in the very end.
Yeah, throw that in.
Yeah.